Muslim, and I want unequivocally deny this fact that I'm not an Arab and I'm not a Muslim. So let's set this straight. Because I think that brings us to what happened. I've been very depressed last week or so once we have this. Now she's been known as the crazy lady of McCain, that she represents now Minnesota and the Midwest of how, as the media has been really replaying the tapes and playing on how ignorant or how people now are just getting tense and they're desperate for artificial information, accusing Obama of being an Arab. All the reaction of the media, they're picking on a 75-year-old lady from Chicopee, but I think what I'm really more distraught and depressed about was the reaction of John McCain himself. And I caught his reaction when she said she is, when she mentioned that she is an Arab, Obama is an Arab, and she's afraid and scared to turn this country to be a Muslim, whatever. He said Obama is a decent family man, fine citizen, and I happen to disagree with him. And we have somebody who really picked me up and cheered me up, left me a voicemail telling me, Ahmed, cheer up, there is hope, and he was trying to tell me that what's going on now is really is going to wither away, and there is hope in this country. We have Jeff Strate. He is a TV producer, and he actually done some piece about this event, and he was going to talk a little bit about how the media covered this event and how the election this year is really getting very interesting and very wacky. Welcome to BelAhdan, Jeff.
Thank you very much.
It was very nice of you to leave this message. I was really down, and your message cheered me up, lift me up. There is people like you out there that give us hope.
Well,
and this country is not totally down in the tube yet.
No, it's not. But I saw that original tape, a live production of the town hall meeting out in Lakeville. And I was struck immediately, oh boy, this kind of sounds weird.
Yeah.
But Mr. McCain wouldn't do that. And so I waited a couple of days before I called you. We've known one another for a couple of years now.
Yeah.
And no one was talking about it until Colin Powell announced his support of Mr. Obama for the presidency. And Mr. Powell, if you recall, did refer to that incident on television regarding Mr. McCain and that lady from Shakopee. And Powell hit the nail on the head. He said, he didn't refer to the fact that, hey, it's okay to be an Arab.
What a concept.
And I totally agreed right there. And Powell was the first national leader.
Is this something?
The first national leader, 2 or 3 days later, to bring this up. Maybe others had been, but it didn't get any coverage
Even
on television
Obama
or radio.
himself, when he been accused of that, his answer was not forthcoming.
Wasn't it? Yeah.
Maybe once he said, what if, but I think most of the time he was apologetic and tried to explain to people, no, I'm not really a Muslim. It's like, no, I'm not a terrorist. So, he didn't set the tone to tell the American people, what if I was a Muslim?
Yeah.
What in fact his dad was a Muslim?
Yeah.
And I think technically for non-Muslims, you are a Muslim.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's a big deal, and he should face this.
Well, what difference does it make anyway?
Exactly what
I
I'm
mean,
saying.
I know far many more honest Muslims in America than I do Christians, to tell the truth. That's a kind of a joke. In Eden Prairie, Islam is the third language, third religion. I come from Eden Prairie, so it's the third religion. We have nearly 4,000 Somalis. Most of them are Muslim. The second is Christianity. The third, of course, is consumerism and driving around with cell phones. But
I thought that was the first religion.
But all by way of saying that the scapegoating and treatment of other religions and people with other cultures
What bothered
is
you the
rampant
most?
around here.
Is it the fact she was ignorant, or the fact she was concerned, or the fact the information around her prepared her to come up with this? Is it this, as she's saying, she met a lot of people in the convention of Republican, and most of the people there shared the same view. And I am not alone. I go to Burnsville, the main Republican headquarters, and I do a lot of work over there, a lot of sending out mail talking about people. All the people agree with me. I am saying to you about Obama. So she's not alone.
She's not. I would call her up on the phone and ask her directly, but there are on YouTube interviews with this lady taken at that town hall meeting in Lakeville, and I've looked at them too. I think she's probably a really nice lady. However, with all the telecommunications tools we have in America, all the way from cell phones to, whatever you have.
Which cannot use.
The net effect of it is we don't pay attention to the real important things.
Exactly.
We don't have the fluency to say, edit on our own all the stuff that comes out. And so that lady from Savage or Shakopee is about as remote from politics or the real view of America as, say, a villager, say in Egypt or maybe Uganda even.
Well, I mean, there are people like her everywhere, in any country, anywhere, but the thing is how you react to it.
Yeah, well, I'm ignorant about a lot of things too. I can't talk about a lot of things, but I think it's part of life in America is that there's so much that we kind of hang out with people that give us reinforcement in our beliefs.
Yeah.
And we don't meet people like you. We don't meet people who are different than ourselves. And so we have all this reinforcement from certain political parties, our churches, from our friends, the folks we play golf with, about these kind of stereotypes and misconceptions. And right now, I don't think the Republican Party is doing a very good job at stopping it.
You don't go to a public party for a diverse view?
Well, I love voting Republican when I can, but that's not very often recently.
Because McCain himself, a few years back, he said, I think having a Muslim president would be bad for the country.
Did he say that?
Yeah, and he said, I think not exactly maybe the same, but he said having a Christian president, much better than having a Muslim. In that regard, I mean, I'm not saying this lady. What really I'm taking, this lady is not alone, and this lady perception is shared in so many. She probably, as far as I'm concerned, the most honest 75 years old lady in this country.
Well, she did come out. She wasn't politically correct at all. It didn't even occur to her. And there are a lot of folks like that who live in this part of the world. And so how do you get around it?
Yeah.
Do you have any suggestions?
No.
I'll turn the table.
I'm here
I'll
to
ask
learn.
a question.
Well, people like you, and they take the time, they take risk, and they call and they correct and they make video, and you put hours and putting pieces together to put it and to make people aware of the fact that this is really almost racist.
It is, and another point I want to make is that I feel really bad when any group is slandered or mistreated. Singled out or scapegoated. It just gets to me for some reason.
Yeah.
And if I know someone from that group, I'm going to call them up and say, hey, look, cheer up, I'm on your side. Now, why do I do this? I had to think about this a lot. And it's because I take great comfort in people who live exemplary lives, who have the core set of values that I learned as a kid growing up in Edina, that I learned at Edina Lutheran Community Church. Not all that different. When you take the core beliefs and the core family values, it's almost identical to what you learned and got in Egypt when you were a kid. Almost entirely. And I've found this to be true with Catholics and my Jewish friends. I mean, I get along with everyone.
We all have basic, one dignity.
We all agree on a lot of things. The most important things we agree on, and I think it's when politics and culture and the church organized get involved that we kind of lose a vision here.
Do you think that what's going on in this country, the economy, the election, the war, exacerbate that sense of that people out there that are different than me, they're going to get me, and
Yeah, for some people, obviously that's happening right now, and since 9/11, it's been particularly difficult for Muslims and people from Egypt and Arabs, and you've had a whole litany of bad television movies, bad news coverage, all sorts of things, and it's just difficult to overcome for most people.